Part 80 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. And this part, we're just going to finish the rest of the punitive trial. Okay, so remember at this point, the defendants are all representing themselves because they're broke and indigent, despite all the family members, not all, but a lot of the family members of the Drizes just flew first class to Turks and Caicos and are presently in Turks and Caicos on a mega yacht for like $25,000 a day while staying in an Airbnb that's $30,000 a day. It's good stuff. But they're broken indigent, so they're representing themselves. And the judge asks, because remember, our forensic economist who we hired is still on the stand and ready to be asked questions. So the judge asks the defendants, do you want to cross-examine Tim Lanning? And Shawn Driz stands up and he says, no, we will not have any questions for anybody. And she goes, you do not speak for them. And Shawn responds, I'll allow them to speak for themselves. Then a couple minutes go by, stuff's being asked, and then Shawn has the audacity to complain that he spent an entire evening getting documents for this. And then the other plaintiff's attorney mentions to the judge that we still need Shawn Driz's American Express credit card documents. We still need his Capital One credit card. And Shawn Driz then continues, as he did before in the trial, to speak in the third person once again. And he says, I gave you everything that Shawn Driz humanly possible was able to give you. It's plain and simple. Remember that phrase? Oh, and he's claiming for that Turks and Caicos mega yacht trip to be a work trip. However, there was no documentation whatsoever, no records of him working at the law offices of Sergio Siderman. It's kind of funny, too, that you work at a law firm, and they're even your family that runs the law firm, and nobody could provide you with an attorney? Legit. So remember, during the entire trial and this punitive part, we've asked like a dozen times to the defendants, produce the documents about this irrevocable, as you call it, but it's not, trust fund that is in Annabella Nicole's name. And the whole time they just kept ignoring it. All of a sudden, Alberto is like, oh, I have Annabella's trust documents. I have them right here. Now, if only Annabella had, shown up to this trial, she could have cleared a lot of things up to the judge and the jury and the plaintiffs and the victims and all that stuff. But, those jet skis aren't going to ride themselves, right? So Alberto offers the documents that he has now. I'm sure they're not altered whatsoever. And the judge says, and I quote, you know what? Let me tell you something, Mr. Driz. In the law, we have a word for this, and it's called ambush. So no, you may not produce those documents. And he tries to say that he just forgot to put the documents in the envelope. And the judge says, no. Now we're talking about ambush and cheating. Love her. At this point, Maurice, Annabella's uncle, goes, it's okay. And the judge says, no, it's not okay, and I didn't ask you. And then at this point, the judge asks all the defendants if they'd like to put on any evidence. It's their turn. They all said no. Just a little quote, just to clarify what I've said earlier, but punitive damages are intended to punish the worst behavior in society. Okay, so Maurice Driz decides to get up and he complains a little bit and then he blames the jury. Okay, let's read this great quote from Maurice Driz. I'm a businessman. I go to work every day, and you people didn't get that. Do we look like bastards to you? Do I have a daughter? Do I have a wife? Do I have a son? Just to be clear, I have never gotten in a physical fight. My son, Shawn, neither. I do good things. I support Cedars-Sinai. I support the Children's Hospital. And scene by the Drizzes. I love how if you're a businessman or you procreated, that you're not capable of being a completely disgusting, vile person. And it's like, it's your closing argument and you're still perjuring yourself. Like he literally said, me and Shawn, we've never been in a physical fight. After video, after photos, after their own friends deposed, admitted to this, after They admitted to this. Like, it's, I have so many questions, but I don't want to get dumber. Okay, so that is it for the punitive trial. Okay. And that's not the end of my series. We do the punitive verdict next. And then after that, I'm just going to let everyone know what happened in those few months and the crimes that were committed in those few months afterwards. And it'll also explain why we haven't collected a dime and there's been no repercussions to the defendants. Thanks, everybody.